All right. Hey there, everyone. It's me, your girl Elias. Hey, Alveer. Help me bring a little wisdom to the people while we're all reveling in our cups of joy. Woo! I'm here with Drunk Fantasy Episode 2, and we are here to answer some burning questions that the people have asked. And welcome to whatever the fuck tavern we're in right now, because these are all drunk rumors and should not be quantified as any sort of serious answer to anything. But here we go. The first question I have heard is, if there's one vital thing I know, what is the one thing I should know? And that one thing is Cosine is bad. Next question. Next question is there a war to the east? Yes, there is absolutely a war to the east that is going on. The kingdom of Thevryn, that borders the entire eastern side of the continent, was attacked by the Typhonese. Those are the people that exist in Dostral, which is the continent over on the other side of the world. So the Typhonese have come in and attacked, and from what I have heard, they are jerks about it, because they decided instead of landing, they were going to cast a big old fuck-all magical spell and flood and wipe out an entire coastal city, and then once the waters receded, then they'd march the fuck in, because who locks their doors during a hurricane? Nobody. So they just marched in and decided to use that as their point and attack the rest of the country. Not cool, Typhonese. Not cool. It's doubly not cool because the Typhonese were allied with the Westlords. The Westlords are the country on the western side of Silesia. They came around through the top, and they started all invading the country all together. We've also discovered that in that unholy alliance, there also recruited some orcs and goblins that were followers of Revirk, who I don't know who Revirk is. He's a jerk god, and they're all working together to try to invade and take over Thevryn. So that's rude, and we've been trying to do what we can in order to help Thevryn, because, listen, as much as the Thevryn people, follow evil gods and have a red dragon legion, we don't want them to fall, because the worst thing would be if they fell and then those armies continued marching east to take over our lands. That would be bad, because the Thevryn people, they have a pretty big army. They've got fucking red dragons. And so if the red dragons fall, what the fuck are we gonna do? Do you have a dragon in your pocket? I don't. So we're trying to send aid to them as much as we can. We worked in order to secure a supply line from Celeria. So that's our continent to the north of where we are. And so the Solarian people, they were using the center of the continent to come down, and we're using New Valek. That's where we are. New Valek to come into the rest of the Thevryn front. Once you get over the Draconic line and take over the rest of the army, then from there they were able to assist and aid. So from what I hear, the war is going fairly well. There's a group of heroes that are there that are trying to fight off the Typhonese. Something to do with them allying with the forces of hell. It's fine, as long as they're not allying with Coastonites, I'm cool with that. And that's where we are right now. So they're aiding that war effort over there, and hopefully, knocking on all the wood, that particular war effort is going well. So Thevryn, they're okay. They used to not be okay, but that's in the past. That's before my lifetime. I'm just a stupid human, and that's fine. So we just have all of those people doing what they can in order to fight over in that particular war. Yes, yes. So that's where I sit in terms of knowledge of what's going on in the East. Next question. There's also a war between the gods. Yes, there is. Okay, so listen, if you didn't listen to my last drunken rampage, here we are now. There's a war between the gods. Yes. Kosine, the god of plagues, has decided, fuck all y'all, he wants to destroy everything. Listen, I don't know how you get to a place bad enough where you decide that the only recourse is to burn it all, children, burn it all, but that's where Kosine is at this point. And Kosine was fighting against the allied forces of, like, the whole gods on the plane of war, which is something that I can't even comprehend. Listen, I'm a stupid human. I'm here on the plane of mortal fuckery, and Kosine is wherever he was, fighting against all the rest of the gods. And Alveer realized that the war wasn't going well for all of the other 45 plus gods, because why are there so many gods? I don't know. There just are. Deal with it. And Alveer said, listen, we're not going to have this. And he sent all the other gods back to the prime material plane. And so they're somewhere. We'll find them eventually. And so that we, humble mortals, can re-empower them so they can continue to fight Kosine. And I don't know, Kosine has decided that everything else just needs to die because he's one of the gods of death. And that's kind of his domain and what he do. So, yes, there's a continuing, ongoing war between all the other gods and Kosine. Fuck Kosine. He needs to go. From what I understand, Kosine used to be imprisoned until some stupid adventurers ruined it. So this is my continuing plea. It's gonna fall on deaf ears, but this is my continuing plea for adventurers to actually pay the fuck attention so that they don't just destroy things before knowing what the things are. Because it seems to me that if it doesn't pertain to the exact mission you're on, adventurers just walk into a dungeon and say, I don't know what that fuck that is. I'm gonna burn it. Don't do that! Because it might be there for a fucking reason. Thank you for coming to this particular talk. As such, yes, the war is continuing on, and it's manifested here in that even last time I visited New Valek, there was some asshole who was following Kosine who was like, I will destroy your entire town. And we're like, no, bitch, you won't. And it's just come to a head that the forces of Kosine realized that I know what they're up to. And we're here to fight against them because that just needs to stop. We need to empower our gods. And I mean, like, all other 45 of them. 45 plus. Apparently, there's more. I don't know everything. I'm just a dumb kid. So there's lots of gods, and the more we can empower them so that we can fight against Kosine, that's a good thing. Listen, you didn't realize the story time was run by a cleric, but here we are. I think that's all I could talk about at that question. What's the next question? What's this about trapped gods? Okay, so listen. When Alveer and the rest of the gods were fighting Kosine on the plane of war, I can't even fathom what that looks like. What the hell does a plane of war look like? I know what a prime material plane looks like. It's where I live. A plane of war? What does that even mean? I don't know. So there's a plane of war, and Alveer decided that everything was going poorly and said, listen, I don't want everybody to die. Apparently, the plane of war, if you die, stop that. If you die on the plane of war, it's like a permanent death. The tavern is very loud. People who are listening to this later, and so people are just making fun of me. So if people die on the plane of war, stop it. It's like a permanent death. So we can't have that. So Alveer decided that he was going to take all the gods and be like, get out. And so he kicked them all out of Plane of War. And that meant that everybody was apparently imprisoned inside some kind of chrysalis as they were traversing the planes, and they landed back on the prime material plane. So we've seen a few of the gods that have crash landed here in the prime material plane, and we've done our best to free them. So there's usually some kind of huge divine magic spell, some kind of calling to them using their own element in order to free them from their prison so that they can begin to reestablish their domains over the prime material plane, and so that people that follow them can begin to give them more power. Because the goal right now is to break them free of their chrysalises, which is a word that I'm using. I haven't heard anybody else use, but it's a word I'm using. To break them free of their chrysalis so that they can then gain more belief and divine power. I've personally been able to speak to Faced, the demigoddess of winter. She's lovely, by the way, and in order to empower her, Lord Garrick, the god of death, I was able to speak with him and break him free from his prison. And that was wonderful as well, because if there's anybody that needs to be empowered by the good people, that's definitely the god of death. Who else have I encountered? Belar, which people have made fun of me for, because he's the god of violent death. Listen, if Valdis asked me to go on an adventure, I'm going to go, because he needed me to be there in order to add additional healing assistance, and that's why I'm there. And people are like, aren't you a follower of the good? No, I follow Alveer, the creator of all. By the way, all. I'm going to break some people with that. And that's fine, because all the gods are trying to unite and fight against Kosine. You got to keep focus of the actual enemy here. Drunk tavern talk, here we are. As such, listen, yes, there's trapped gods, and we have not found all of them. Why is this important? Because when we were looking for Belar, the Kosinites had found him first, and they were beginning to siphon off his divine power and siphon it into a gem, because that's how these things work. And so they were trying to siphon off straight, raw, divine power so that they could use them in their own spells. As such, yes, we're looking to free all of the gods so that we can continue the fight against Kosine. Because Kosine don't care. He's just here to attempt to destroy everything. And if that doesn't frighten you, I don't know how else to explain things to you. Because we're trying to fight against a god that has decided that everything needs to burn. And so that means a unified front against this threat. And so that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. We're trying to make sure that everything can be unified in order to fight Kosine. Alright, that's too much. I need some more drink. That was water. It's fine. Okay, the next question was, wait, the god of plagues is a bad guy? Yes, Kosine is bad. Next question. Why does everyone yell about Thevryn? Oh, man. Thevryn. Okay. Thevryn is the god of chaos. Chaos don't care. Chaos don't care if you're good or bad, if you're everyone else or Kosine. don't fucking care. Thevryn once decided that Alveer, who is the firstborn goddess, the goddess who created the elves and ostensibly everything beautiful, that Alveer had a stick up her butt, and he decided that she needed to loosen up. And Thevryn was like, I'm gonna make something to help her loosen up. And his magic backfired because chaos. And then created Migo, which is like the demigod of suffering or mischief or something. Listen, I haven't spoken to Migo. I don't know what he's about. But Thevryn apparently calls him the less cool version of himself. And that's fine, because it's Thevryn, and anything he tries to do gets fucked up. Because he's Thevryn and the god of chaos. As such, whenever anything goes the way it shouldn't go, we just kind of blame Thevryn as a blanket statement. It's just the way what it goes. Apparently, Thevryn was in New Valek recently, and I wasn't informed of this until well after the fact that he left. And I'm still mad at you, Arkin, because you didn't tell me that Thevryn was in town. You're like, you should go speak to this guy, because I think he's relevant to what you need to know. That's too cryptic for this shit, Arkin. I'm yelling at you right now, because I didn't know what was going on. So, yes, apparently Thevryn has decided he's gonna pop in and fuck shit up. He decided that he was gonna pop in and make Gabriel, who's like a sweet little cinnamon roll, just be all fucked up in his knowledge of the gods. I'm rambling and nobody understands what I'm going on about. That's fine, because if you meet these people, then you understand what I'm going on about. But Thevryn is just kind of a dick. And while I appreciate the immense amount of power that he holds, he's rude about it, and that's rude, and I don't need that in my life. So, yeah, apparently someone once said that, it smells like Thevryn is involved in this. And I don't know who said it, and I don't know what the context was of it, but if anything is ever going left, because that's apparently what it all does, and it smells like Thevryn, then we're going to use that phrase, because, smells like Thevryn. Yep, that's it. That means it's all gone to hell, or to chaos. You know, one of those things, whatever his domain is, I don't know. Next question. Are there other cities and towns that are accept worshipping the old gods, or is it primarily just New Valek? There's lots of other cities and towns that worship the old gods, and it's not just New Valek. It is mostly in the lands of the Typhonese and the West Lords that have stopped all worship of the other gods, and that's only what I've heard. I'm not entirely sure what's going on in those particular continents, because I am not from there. And here in New Valek and the lands around the city of Tircis, because, listen, I'm all for Queen Mylera establishing a new kingdom. Like, that's cool. We can do that. And this particular center of the country unifying under whatever the fuck it is we're doing. And acknowledging the worship of the old gods. Now, why is that? Because all of the other old gods are unifying in their fight against Khos'in. And the other continents of the world, to my understanding, are unifying against Fëanor. Here we go. Okay. Fëanor is real powerful, and I understand that. Fëanor is so powerful that he has like 4 different sects of mortals worshipping him in different aspects. And that kind of singular aspect dividing into 4, singular god dividing into 4 aspects with all of those mortals worshipping him, that's a fucking powerful god. I admit that. I acknowledge that. That's fine. But listen, Fëanor is the one and only god that did not join in the fight against Khos'in, the god of plagues. He's the one that said, all the other gods went, why do I have to go? That's some bullshit reasoning there. Let's be real about that. Fedor deciding that, look, if everybody else is gone, clearly I don't need to because I'm just a little god, and everybody else can worship me because, look, I am light, I am the sun, I make your crops grow, I give you life, etc., etc. That's some bullshit, dude, because plagues affect crops too, and that's rude. So, it's a matter of principle at this point that the Fedorians, those that follow Fedor, were like, none of the other gods are answering our prayers. Clearly don't give two shits about what's going on the prime material plane. Fuck them. No, not fuck them. They've been up at the plane of war fighting against Kosine, and just because Fedor decided he'd be the only one to pick up the phone and answer all the prayers does not mean he's better than the other gods. God damn it. As such, it's that it's that Fedorian worshippers decided that all the other gods are illegal. That's some bullshit. Let's just lay that out right now. Because Fedor did not come out of the nothingness. No, Alveer created his ass. Had to. He's the energy of all. And to deny that, that's some bullshit. Pisses me off. As such, here we are. So are there other cities that worship the old gods? Yes. Yes, they are. There are not a lot of them. There's not many of them. They don't make the headlines in whatever news exists. But that's fine, because we're here in New Valek, which is where I am. And since you are listening to me, then you've heard the words coming out of my mouth, and it's fine. Everything's fine. Next question. Where are we? Something about a new queen. Boy, that's a vague question. Sure. Queen Mylera of Tircis. Tircis is the closest city to New Valek. That's it. That's the whole thing. As such, Queen Mylera is doing a damn fine job, from what I understand. I haven't been able to speak to her as well. There's a dog in the tavern. Is she barking? Is she loud? That's fine. Queen Mylera is the Queen of Tircis, which is the city that is closest to New Valek. And from what I understand, Baron Dorian and Lord Mayor Doran, there is no relation between those names, have worked with her. And there's like all sorts of nonsense going on with Queen Mylera. Something about like abducted nephew, or like there's missing relics of the state, or the usual adventurous shit. And she's been able to continue keeping her throne because adventurers have been helping her maintain that throne. And that's cool, that's good. Keep on doing that. I approve. If you need any help in doing that shit, just ask me, because I don't have a whole lot of resources, but I'll do what I can to help. As such, Queen Mylera, from what I understand, has been real good about making sure that she understands that everybody needs help. No, that everybody deserves help in order to make the city go. So that it doesn't matter if you are noble-born or not noble-born, that you are all part of Tircis and deserve to remain alive and assist in maintaining the land. So Queen Mylera is cool. We like her. Apparently there's like some secret organization working against her. But even in my drunken state, I know that I should not talk about that. Ha ha! Got you. And so I will not. And so anybody that is involved in that particular secret organization can fuck all the way off, and we're just going to make sure that Queen Mylera remains in charge, because she cool. Cool, cool. Next question. How many languages are there in the Vale? Oh, Jesus. I don't even know who asked that question. I have no idea how many languages there are inside the Vale. Um, I personally speak Common, which is what you're understanding me to speak in, and I understand the language of magic because I've got a mage inside the company, and he's been teaching me how to read that. And we just encountered Infernal, which is wild. Those runes are itchy, which is the only way I can describe them. I don't know if you've ever experienced something itchy while you're reading, but it is not a fun experience. Um, so I've read Infernal and I have it written down how to translate it. I don't like it, but here we are. So I can only assume that there's got to be some kind of counterpoint to Infernal as a language. Um, but I don't know it yet. Hopefully yet. I don't know. There's lots and lots of languages. I know that the other languages of men and elves have different languages. I don't know all of them. I'm just a dumb mortal. Like, I'm doing my best, okay? So that's what we're doing for how many languages are there? I don't know. I don't know. This is one of the parts of the world that we're all going to learn together. Let's figure out how that all works, and we'll make it go. It'll be great. Next question. I hear there's zombies. Okay, listen, you gotta be a little more specific than that. Zombies. Okay, sure. In the country to our south, there's Alveer, which is the country to the south, and the majority of Alveer has been overrun by zombies. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on there. My hope is that at some point soon, I will be able to learn more about that because our Baron has put out a call in order to go fight those zombies, and I am all for it. I am here to fight those zombies, sir. I would like to go fight those zombies with you because that's an undead and that's an affront to everything that should exist because I follow the god of energy and energy that turns into unenergy that turns into re-energy. Let's not have that. That's not good. So I would love to go fight those zombies, sir. Let's do that. Um, but there's apparently been a lot of portals that have opened up inside that particular country of Valerian where people are just stumbling through because they're not visible to the naked eye. And the zombies and the mortals have been able to stumble through those portals and just appear in other parts of the country or other parts of the continent. And that's terrifying all at the same time. And I don't know a whole lot of what's going on down in Alern because I have not been there. So, if the call comes out to actually move forward in order to fight on the southern front, I'm here for it. Let's go fight off some of the undead because I'm a cleric. We can make that happen. Let's destroy some undead. It'll be great. So as for what's causing the portals that's going around through Alern, I don't know. It's exciting. Who knows? Next question. Where did the portal to Westfell come from? Okay, so we're in New Valek, which I understand is a name that doesn't hold a lot of relevance to you unless you're from New Valek, which I would like to declare that I feel like I'm from at this point because I've been near here for a while. So there's a portal, there's New Valek, and just last year, a delegation from Westfell just kind of sauntered in, and apparently there's a portal to Westfell, to New Valek. I don't know what's going on. So my understanding of it is that there's ley lines all over the world, and that one of those ley lines goes from uh, Kells Deep, which is the name of the city that in Westfell that lies with us. Westfell is a bunch of city states, and Kells Deep, who New Valek is allied with, is run by Revis, who's the God King of debauchery. Fun times for everyone. And Kel's Deep is cool, whereas the rest of Westfell is not as cool. Um, Kel's Deep did not join in the war against Thevryn, and so that's fine because New Valek is allied with Kel's Deep. That makes us cool. We're friends. So there's like one pocket of friendship over in Westfell, and the rest of Westfell just wants to take us over and annex us. Fuck those guys. So Kel's Deep is cool. That's awesome. But how did Kel's Deep get to New Valek? I don't know. So apparently there's like ley lines that span the entirety of the Vale. That's Valine. That's the colloquial for Valine. So that spans the entirety of the Vale. We encountered a bit of those ley lines and those portals a few years ago. And one of those portals opened up and out popped like a fairy queen and a goblin king. And it was a mess. It was a damn mess. Um, and I didn't know what the hell was going on that because the fairy queen was like, fight for my amusement. And so I did my best and I lived, and that was cool because it means I beat May, who was the right hand of Garrick at the time. So that's a little feather in my cap that a priestess of Alveer destroyed one of the assassins of Garrick. No big deal. It's fine. Listen, everything is cool. But then later in that particular visit to New Valek, the Goblin King was like, you know what? All y'all are assholes and I hate you. And so, like, he stole, Runa and Sile's kids and was like, I'm going to keep these babies until if you can solve my labyrinth and come and claim them. And I was like, I am not about babies being stolen because that is no good. And so we solved the labyrinth, and if you talk to Pan Casimir, like, apparently he befriended a skeleton in order to solve that particular labyrinth. I wasn't there at the time, but I was a bit, and I didn't understand what was all going on at the time. But we got in front of the Goblin King, and apparently we impressed that, no, you shouldn't do this, because mortals don't work that way, and that's not how this all functions. And rather than actually come to a resolution of anything, apparently we just closed the door on that particular portal and threw it off into the ether and declared that that was a future us's problem. And so that's where we are right now. That's fine. That's a future us's problem. I don't care. So we don't have to deal with the Goblin King. That's fine. I don't need to deal with that Goblin King anymore. But we did save Sile's kids, and that was cool because those are my godchildren, and I appreciate them, and they're really cool people because they're growing up to be fine, upstanding citizens. And at least I'm doing my best, okay? I'm doing my best. And that's what's going on. Look, I'm trying to do my best. Listen, shut up, people from the audience on that. I'm doing my best. So, that's a future us's problem, and I don't know how the portal from Westfell came to be here, because there's ley lines all over the Vale. Fucking deal with it. That's just what we are. That's just what we're doing. Next question. What are Alveer's mistakes? First of all, fuck you. Second of all, hold up. Okay. I have heard this phrase before. You gotta understand, you just asked a cleric of Alveer, what are Alveer's mistakes? The rumor is that before Colavir Firstborn, there were some other gods that Alveer created in a first attempt at shaping the energy of everything that creates us. I don't know how to deal with that. because I've grown up with the teachings of the Church of Alveer, and inside the teachings of that is that Alveer and Relevin are the first and second born. So to recently hear that there are other things that exist before Alveer, I really don't know how to deal with that. Especially not right now. Especially not as you have found me here in whatever the hell tavern this is. The idea that Alveer made something and then regretted it. Listen, I can't reconcile the two. And I'm trying. I'm trying to reconcile that there is a fallibility to the energy of the universe, but also that there is not. Because Alveer created Alveer first and Relevant second. And that's how the story goes. And that's the story that I've been telling myself to console me through my understanding of the world. And so if that story is different, I'll figure it out. I'll get there. I'll grow to it. But I might not be there yet. Because I'm just a stupid mortal, right? That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm trying my best. But if you want to press on it, of what are Alveer's mistakes, then it means that Alveer created a series of deities before Alveer to shape the very foundation of everything that we know. And that it went so wrong or so contrary to what Alveer imagined his creation would be, that they decided to end it, imprison it, and stop it from happening, and start again. I have to wonder what the hell went so wrong that it was completely unsalvageable by the very energy of the universe itself. And does that sound a lot like what the Kosinites are saying? In a terrifying way, yes. But also in a very distinct way, no. Because I don't want to destroy what has been created since then. I believe that what has been built in the millennia since Alveer and Relevant has been created is worth saving. And I believe that to my very, very core. I don't want to destroy that and start again. Do I wonder if there's a way to reconcile the two? Sure, because I'm curious. And that's how these things go. So, what are Alveer's mistakes? I don't know. And I haven't met anybody who does know. Not with certainty. And in a way, I hope that I do meet someone that has further researched into it. And I'd be lying if I said that I don't want to know it all. Because it took me a long while to get to this point in my life of where I was so certain that Alveer created all and everything was going to their design and their plan. To learn that Alveer made a mistake, that hurts. That hurts a lot. And that's where we are. And so, I raise my glass up to you in hopes that you raise my glass up to me. And we leave with the traditional toast, right? The toast be that I raise my glass up in your honor. And your response would be, and we raise up our glass in yours. But that's too long to say when we're drunk. And so we shorten that shit. And instead, we just say, up yours.